This is Jonathan Agger, 5th Pro Boxing fans. We're up here in Newcastle today for the announcement of Ritson against Miguel Vazquez. Eddie Hearn, how does it compare being in Newcastle to anywhere else where you hold shows?
Listen, we've been some great cities over the years where we've built something very special. Josh Warrington in Leeds, Carl Frampton in Belfast, and this is another tick on the box. I mean, I think now you're starting to see people from across the country come into Newcastle for fight night because they've watched the atmosphere on TV. That's when you know you've got something special, and you know the people in the North East continue to support the boxers, which is the most important thing. Anytime you see more ticket sales coming from the fighters than the box office, it always shows you that the community is very strong and the support is very strong for fighters, and that's really you couldn't say that more in Newcastle.
Is this a bit of an acid test for Lewis Ritson? He's done well against Josh Taylor.
Yeah, I think this is a really good fight for Lewis Ritson to show exactly where he's at right now. You know, I feel that he could be ready for a world championship shot now. But I think his confidence, you know, I said that after the Robbie Davies fight, it's like, whoa, one or two more. But how do you go from a big domestic fight to world level? You need that fight in between. And Miguel Vazquez is that fight. You know, he's been a world champion for I think 4 or 5 years. He was massively unavoided at lightweight. He got robbed against Mickey Bay. He moved to light welterweight. He got robbed against O'Hara Davis. Just come back with a win. Good fighter. Can move, can box, can fight. And very difficult to beat. And you saw in the Patera fight that someone with movement could sometimes give Lewis problems. But I think he's matured now. I think he'll take his time more. But it's going to be a very tough fight for him.
And Savannah Marshall in a world title fight after only 8 fights. Obviously, she was the female British amateur champion. But stepping up, were you surprised, or she's telling me that she just had to take the shot?
Yeah, it was my idea. So if it goes wrong, it's down to me. It was, you know, she was at 168 and she was looking either at 160. All the belts were taken. I looked at 175 and there was a champion from New Zealand who's big and strong and tough. And I got in touch with them and they said, we'll take it. So I asked Savannah, she said yes, and Peter Fury said yes. And you know, it's a massive opportunity for her to become world champion, particularly in the North East. You know, just saw Terry Harper at the weekend. Amazing atmosphere there in Sheffield. And again, she's going to have huge supporters, Savannah. And I think by winning the title at 175 gives her a chance to become a multi-weight world champion as well, because I see her winning world championships at 68 and 60 as well.
And Tommy Ward also closing in on that WBO title shot. You think Navarrete is going to move up?
That's the word, yeah. So really he needs a good win here to make sure that he solidifies that top 2 spot. And I think Navarrete's boxing on the Fury card. So if he wins there, I think he'll move up, and then it'll be a vacant shot between 1 and 2. So important fight for Tommy Ward, and hopefully he can get the win.
Joe Laws. Now, how does he seem to sort of epitomises Newcastle, doesn't he? He's so popular around here. How's he done it?
I just think he's a good lad who people like. He's a bit crazy, happy-go-lucky. He's always smiling, and I think people around here like that. You know, I think people anywhere like it, but particularly, you know, in cities like this where you've got someone who's out there trying to make a name for himself, trying to achieve in his profession. He works hard. You know, I said to him, although you've got that little bit of a clown sort of personality, he does work hard, and I think he's smarter than he thinks. And he's become now an absolute necessity for our Newcastle shows. I know he sells like 1,000 tickets or whatever it is, but you know, he can fight. He's always entertaining. The ring walk's great. It's entertainment at the end of the day, and Joe Laws brings it.
Fabio Wardley fighting for the English title, managed by Dillian White. Of course, do you expect the winner of this to maybe get a British title shot?
I think so, yeah. I mean, that British title is going to become vacant at some point this year. Fabio Wardley's a good fighter. Listen, Vallili's a good fighter. I've seen Vallili box well before. He's been a little bit up and down. Up at heavyweight, I think he's going to be a lot more comfortable. They can both punch. Simon Vallili is never afraid to let his hands go and trade, and nor is Fabio Wardley. Someone's lights are getting switched out in that fight, and everybody likes to see a good heavyweight fight. Just
back onto Saturday night, we obviously spoke about Liam Smith for Kell Brook. Where's Amir Khan in this situation?
No, really, I mean, we can't rely on Amir Khan. You know, I think we've tried and tried over the years. I think that's just really a situation where if he was to call up and say, look, let's talk about it, then we'd do it. But really, we've gone now in terms of trying to push him into the fight. So if he wants the fight, that fight's there. But both guys are looking for a world title shot, and if that can't be delivered, I think you'll see Brook against Smith in the summer.
I mean, just on that, just quickly, what was the best chance you had of making that when Amir Khan signed a 3-fight deal with you, but then chose Crawford?
Yeah, it was. And actually, we were quite close there. You know, we were in a situation where we were talking about money, we were negotiating the deal, but similar kind of money come up for Crawford. And I think Amir probably felt, well, I've got a shot at a world title, and if I beat Crawford, or if I lose to Crawford, I can fight Kell after. But that never materialised either. So you know, you can't really criticise Amir Khan for fighting Crawford at any moment. But I think there was less to lose in that fight than a Kell Brook fight. And I think that's always been the case. So you know, if he changes his mind and he wants to fight, we're ready.
Obviously, slightly overshadowed perhaps by this investigation as gambling commissions launched. Just your reaction to that?
I spoke to British Boxing Board of Control, who are speaking to the Gambling Commission. Didn't sound too serious for what I know, but again, we'll see what they come back with. We work with, we own the PDC and also World Snooker. So we deal with governing bodies and disciplinary committees and also gambling commissions. So we've been in this situation before. I've never experienced it in boxing before. I've spoke to Dave Allen, I've seen the comments from Allen-Darch. I hope they're telling the truth. They certainly sound like they are. And we'll find out in due course, because there's no hiding place. If they have conspired to cheat, you will find that out very, very quickly. Personally, I don't believe they have, but the proof will be in the pudding. And hopefully it gets cleared up. But it's good that they're looking into it. You know, there's no place for that in any sport. And again, it's the first time I've ever experienced it. So we'll wait on the results.
Final one. Last week, Thursday's press conference, it seemed like Tottenham was the front runner for AJ. I've read some reports about the Emirates Stadium coming into it. What's the latest? Just
some conversations with them. You know, I mean, we were at Spurs on Monday. Spoke to Arsenal today. You know, I sort of made a tongue-in-cheek comment about the North London rivalry, and it was all over the papers, and they're all phoning me up saying, no. So who knows? But Tottenham is a magnificent stadium, and so is Emirates. But you know, we'll see. I think it's almost certainly going to be between one of those two for June.
Eddie Hearn, thanks very much.
Cheers.